Well, WrestleMania Night 2 is in the books, and I guess I just have one question. Did they save WrestleMania? Was that actually WrestleMania? Because it kind of felt like WrestleMania yesterday, whereas we didn't get a lot of that night one, but I really felt the WrestleMania tinglies a little bit yesterday, and it really was a much better show. But the question we do need to ask ourselves is, did they actually save it? So we are going to break that all down. And with that, welcome to the 716 Sports Entertainment Podcast. I'm Mike, joined Mr. Sean O'Neill and Mr. T. Reese. And fellas, did they save WrestleMania? T, I'll kick it over to you.
Um, I think they successfully did. I think they did it. There was zero bad matches that night. Every match was high octane. It was just go, 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 go. And I mean, I the crazy thing is, I had the double screen on and watching the Sabres game, and I was watching WrestleMania at the same time.
Nice.
So 1 minute I'm going from one screen to the other. You're just with the sound. And so I'm getting pissed off with the Sabres in the first two periods, but at the same time watching wrestling, I'm in complete awe. So it was like this mix of feelings while I'm watching everything. It was
Right.
Brock Lesnar, because what happens is as soon as the match ends, I would flip over to the Sabre sound. But then I seen Brock sitting in the ring, and I'm like, what's going on? So I was like, no, he isn't. No, he isn't. But yeah, it was I think they saved it. I absolutely think they saved it. I think they made the right calls, especially for where WWE is right now. I think you do have to put the belts back on your heavy hitters just to get the eyes back and try and draw up some sort of continuity. I could probably see a lot of storylines getting reworked after tonight, or at least after this week.
Yeah, I think I agree. What about you, Sean?
So normally I try to bring the positivity to your guys' negativity, but I don't
Sorry, I
think
almost snorted there.
that I wouldn't go so far as to saying that they saved it. I think that they definitely took steps in the right direction versus what Saturday was, but I still think that it didn't feel like WrestleMania to me. I mean, it didn't really have the big moments that I expect out of WrestleMania. It just something felt off about it. And I don't know if it was because of the TKO influence with the commercials and all that BS. I mean, the crowd was giving it to him afterwards during Reigns' press conference about when they were chanting FTKO. But I just, something to me, it didn't have that WrestleMania feeling. It just kind of felt like another PLE to me.
Okay, interesting. Um, I'm kind of in the middle, right? Like I think I agree with both of your points. Like, yeah, the TKO stuff, man, that was really rough for night one. But at the same time, to Reese's point, there were moments last night, right? Like versus night one, I didn't really feel anything like at all. Last night, there were moments. What happened with Oba and Brock, not only the match, but then the aftermath, that was a moment. The entirety of the main event was a moment, right? I thought some of the insane spots we saw in that ladder match were a moment, and we've said this before on this channel, and I think WWE has become a moment company, right? And I think that's kind of what they're going for. But with that, I think I want to talk about the main event first, and then we'll kind of, go backwards with everything else, kind of like we did for night one. So the main event saw Roman Reigns obviously outlast, and I think that's going to be kind of the key word as we talk about this. Roman Reigns outlasted CM Punk to win the World Heavyweight Championship in what was, I believe, and you'll give us the exact time, Sean, but I know it was more than 30 minutes. And I found it to be an absolutely spectacular match from top to bottom. I thought the entrances were fantastic. I love how Punk had, went from the old music right into Cult of Personality. And Roman, I mean, having the opera singer there along with the piano playing, and then the background videos of all of the old Samoans that were on there, I thought was absolutely fantastic. And Roman Reigns just feels so epic now. And he made a comment. I don't recall if it was I don't recall when he made the comment, but he basically it was something along the lines of, look, when I'm out there and when I'm doing my thing at WrestleMania, I am not about mediocrity. And that was like, I mean, that was a main event. Like what these guys did in the ring for 30 plus minutes, and I'm not gonna be able to like do any of it justice. I mean, if you watched anything from last night besides Oba and Brock, you need to watch that main event. It was spectacular. The storytelling, how these guys came face to face right in the beginning of the ring and just kind of like locked it up, and the pace just kept building and building and building, and the story that they were telling was Roman being the superior athlete and Punk just doing everything in his power to kind of defy his age, right? And not allow his age to ultimately be the Achilles heel, right? And you saw that not only play out in the ending, but in also some of the big spots too. The one in particular that I go back to is where Punk laid Roman out on the announce table. And for the first instance, he was going to jump. And then he was like, no, no, I'm not going to do that. And then Roman obviously made his way back in. But then towards the twilight of the match, he just did an elbow drop from the top rope all the way onto the announcer's table, which was unbelievable. Like I popped out of my chair when he did that. And, ultimately, they got themselves back into the ring, and, Father Time really is undefeated. And CM Punk gets Roman into the GTS, hits him. Roman falls backwards onto the ropes. And then CM Punk attempts to go for another one, and his body just gives out. Can't go any further. Roman hits him with the spear. Punk doesn't go down. Punk is on his knees and just attempts to take a swing at nothing and just falls over. Roman runs the ropes, blasts him with the super spear. 1, 2, 3, and spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. So I guess I'll start with you, Reese. Where do we go from here? And I mean, tell me about how you felt about the match. I mean, let's break it down.
Well, I think the match itself, um, I think we all expected a really good match, but the level they went in that match was completely unexpected. I mean, that was a showing. I mean, some of the great, like you said, Mike, some of the greatest storytelling in a match that you'll ever see, because you can clearly see what the messaging is in that match. There's no questions asked. Unlike night one, where we don't know what's going on with Cody and Randy, nobody can call what's going on with Cody and Randy. We understand what was going on here. So, I mean, I applaud both of those gentlemen. I applaud the fact of, we chatted earlier in our chat about the fact that it was good to not have anybody get involved in the match, which means you're giving us something. You're giving us the full story without any other sidetracks. And does it end the story is the question. I think that's the question. I don't know if this ends the story between CM Punk and Roman Reigns. So if you're asking me where does it go from there, I don't think this story's done yet.
Interesting. Sean, what about you? I mean, what did not only the match, but I guess to T's point, where do you think they go with the story?
So, to your point earlier, the match was about 34, 35 minutes long. So, it was by far the longest match of the weekend. And I think that allowed them to tell the story of Punk's age catching up to him because it was such a long match. And I loved it. I thought everything they did in it was fantastic. I think the ending segment was great. Basically, that just Punk could not go any further. I'm disappointed. I really did want Punk to retain, with it being his first actual main event where it was him in it. Um, I think for me, going forward, the biggest thing coming out of this is what Roman said during his press conference afterwards when asked what to expect from him, and that he would be taking everybody on a ride on Monday, and that we'd be seeing him all summer long. So I don't know how long he's going to be full time, but the fact that he's going to be full time at least through the summer, I think is huge. It puts to bed some of those that talk about Roman just being a part timer and all that. So I really think that much to what T said earlier, and them resetting storylines and putting the belt on like proven commodities, I think that that is going to be huge over the course of the next few months.
Yeah, it certainly is interesting, right? That Reigns said that he was going to be full time. I think that that is to Reese's, but I keep going back to Reese's point from the other day about how many zeros are going to be on that check, what they said for John Cena. And I kind of feel the same way about Roman Reigns a little bit, right? Like what did they have to do to get Roman Reigns to agree to that? Because Roman Reigns has, as we all know, for the better part of the last 5 years, has been on the part-time schedule, right? So like what are they doing to keep him there? I mean, it kind of makes sense that he won the title, right? Like if that was going to be the instance of what they were going to do. And I think the ideas and the where they can go with it, I mean, it's like it's boundless, it's endless, right? I mean, you get so many things waiting in the wings here. Jacob Fatu for one, right? I mean, and even Oba was like, look, I'm coming for you, Roman. You know, he said that in his post game or his post game, his post match analysis thing when he was sitting with the panel as well. And I just love it. I absolutely love it. And it just it always amazes me every time I start to think about Roman Reigns a little bit specifically, and I'll get to Punk in a second, but I mean, I remember when Roman Reigns came out 6 or 7 years ago now, and he made the cancer announcement, and that was kind of like, when he started talking, like initially during that promo that he gave, I was like thinking in my mind, shut up, Roman. Like, get off the screen. We don't give a crap about you. And then, like, ever since then, like, I immediately like ate my words there, right? And then when he came back, I had kind of like a new sense of respect for him. And and I think maybe it was because I felt bad about how bad I like kind of treated the guy for so long. But then again, it kind of just went back into its old ways again, right? Like he was still the big dog. He was still kind of like over pushed. And then as soon as the heel turn happened, as soon as he aligned with Heyman and became the OTC, it was like a completely different character. And that just goes to show what an effective heel turn can do, right? Like they turned him into the biggest character, one of the biggest characters they have ever created. I mean, you put this character up there with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, when he is done, he is going to be go down as one of the best of all time. Will he get to 17 world title reigns? Probably not. But will he go down as one of the best to ever do it? Absolutely. So, I
It
mean,
was
yeah,
it was
go
the
ahead.
biggest heel turn since Hogan.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And just to quickly touch on CM Punk, that man does not get enough credit for the in-ring work that he can do and the storytelling that that man can deliver in the ring. I mean, just spectacular. I mean, and then like, I don't want to pile on him for being, 47, 48 years old because, I'm going to be there in a few years and, we're all pretty close to that to begin with, but it's like none of us could do that. I am not physically capable of doing what that man did last night. And I find it to be absolutely spectacular. And you can see it in his eyes, the love of professional wrestling. And I mean, there is no denying this run that he has been on with WWE for going on 3 years now. Spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. And they both deserved every second of being the main event last night because that was the biggest match that WWE could deliver with what they've given us in 2026.
I would say that that was the best Punk has looked in years.
So yeah, that's pretty much all I want to say about the match. I don't know, Reese, did you have anything additional you wanted to touch on?
I was waiting for Sean. I mean, he kind of just ended that kind of like that climatic there. He went. It was great work. You. Good job, Sean. Good job. Once again, everybody, don't be like Sean.
Hey, sorry, I didn't want to overtalk you and take up too much time, so I apologize.
It's okay, buddy. It's okay. No, there's nothing else really more I need to add to that. I think you guys you pretty much wrapped it all up. Yeah, I mean, again, CM Punk, the veteran superstar. I don't think I've ever seen him in a bad storyline, right? Um, Roman Reigns, from the early Roman Reigns to what we got now, he hasn't had a bad storyline since he went heel. Maybe you could sprinkle some short ones and
The
what was that?
obligatory Logan Paul thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to throw those in there, but I guess those were needed to change it up. But other than that, I mean, again, probably go down as one of the greatest WrestleMania, not just main events, but matches of all time.
Yeah. I agree. Completely agree. So I want to get to another one of these moments then. And this moment was the match that opened the show. We obviously got the rinse and repeat from John Cena as well, who came out and was again the host of the show. We'll talk a little bit more about John Cena later when we speak to the actual segment that went on with him. But Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. And the first thing I want to say about this is I was a little disappointed that they didn't do more for Obafemi's entrance. I would have liked something more there, but I know that that's nitpicking, so I'm not really gonna harp on them too much. But I mean, this was just a battle of the Titans, right? And the two met in the ring to immediately start this match, and they were both grappling, and you could see Brock straining, and Oba was just like, "Nope, you are not gonna push me around, sir." And I mean, Oba took a bunch of Brock's shots while they were in the ring, and I mean, was just like, "Nope, you are not doing this to me." So Brock started trying to do everything he could possibly do to, take Oba down. Got him outside of the ring, was able to take him to Suplex City for a little bit and drop a few Germans on him. And once they got back in the ring, after those said three German suplexes, Oba, got onto Brock's shoulders. Brock delivered the F5, and Oba went down to one knee. Unbelievable. What a moment. Like, I mean, he just was right up on one knee. Absolutely spectacular. Oba then hits the choke slam to a fall from grace to score the victory in what was the, I mean, maybe give it another minute or two, but in my opinion, a perfectly booked match. Exactly what it needed to be. And then on top of that, I don't know if anybody saw this coming, and I want to, and I'll ask you guys in a minute. We saw Brock Lesnar take his gloves off, take his boots off, and Paul Heyman looked genuinely surprised. He started getting emotional. Brock started getting emotional. He kissed the ring mat and got the thank you Brock chance and looked like a retirement. And I don't even know. I was stunned when this happened. But Sean, let me pass this one to you first. How do you like the booking of this match, and what do you think about Brock's retirement, if you will?
So, if anything, this match was a perfectly done passing of the torch moment. I mean, you had an opportunity here to continue Oba's meteoric rise and make him a bona fide, not just monster, but superstar. And the way that they booked this match did exactly that. I mean, taking an F5 that literally only took him down to one knee. I don't think we've ever seen anything remotely close to that in a match against Brock Lesnar. I mean, Undertaker, Reigns, all of these men fell to Brock, and Oba just no sold the hell out of it. And it was just incredible. I think that the match was basically long as it needed to be. And I'm still not 100% sold on Brock being completely retired. I wouldn't be surprised if we still got a Gunther versus Brock match as an official retirement match, but I know that the second he started taking off his gloves and shit in the ring, all three of us in our, or at least Terrence and I in our chat, and then you and I at watching it, were like, "There's no way this is happening." It was just such a out of nowhere moment for someone like Brock to just be doing something like that. You know what I mean? I just an end of an era almost. Like they said when Taker retired and all that. Because like, what are we're so used to seeing Brock be used as like a special attraction. Where do we go from here? You know what I mean? Do we just use Oba in that role going forward? And if we do, how far do you push Oba? I mean, do you immediately put him into like a title picture, or do you just have him continue to do like Brock Lesnar type squash match things?
And that's an interesting segue, right? And I think that's the perfect question I want to ask you, Reese. Is Obafemi the next Brock Lesnar? And do you think Brock is actually Dunzo?
Um, he could be, but I wouldn't put that weight on his shoulders because I mean, don't forget now Brock got to do what Brock wanted to do, so that was a whole different career than what Oba's going to have. Oba's going to be completely controlled by the writers because he's still young. So we'll see how they present him going forward. But he very well could be the answer to Brock. And I mean, that was like you said, Sean. That was the whole point of the match was to pass the torch over. Um, I will say this though, in my opinion, between these two, this might have been the greatest big man's wrestling match I've ever seen in WrestleMania. Like I said, I mean, I know we've had like Kane and Taker, right? We've had them at WrestleMania before. I don't really count the Giant Gonzalez or whatever the heck that was. You know, what I mean, I don't count that. But I mean, just in general, when you have two really big men, and the fortunate thing is that they're both athletic, so that's what made that match so good. And can we just you got to give Brock all the credit in the world in that match. He sold Oba. And it was weird too, because remember they kept showing the stupid Hulk Hogan documentary over and over and over. I'm like, what are we doing, Netflix? I mean,
So
I didn't
that's interesting. We didn't get that with ESPN, but
know.
I did. Yeah, I did hear that that was the thing on Netflix was they kept showing that.
Oh my goodness. Every commercial break, and it was the same commercial. It was the same two.
Mhm.
And interesting enough, they were showing Ted DiBiase talking about Hogan's first match when you got called up to WWE was against him, and he was told to sell for Hogan, and it was almost identical to what Brock did for Oba, almost identical, perfect selling. This is the new kid on the block, and for Brock, I mean, obviously at that time period, I mean Ted DiBiase, giving you the sell isn't during that time of his career probably wasn't, oh, this is the guy moment. But for Oba, this was that moment.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have to. He's got a lot to prove. He's got a lot to prove. We'll see how his presentation and his booking goes, because that's gonna pretty much what's gonna make or break him. And we know how WWE is. As far as chasing belts, I'm not interested in that yet. I think you still need to let him mature a little bit. I think you need because he's got to work on the microphone skills. Unless he plans on Paul Heyman signing him, he's got to work. He's got to work on how to be able to use the microphone and sell a story. This story sold itself. So I mean, he just needed to put on a good show, and that's what he did. And Brock did a hell of a job for doing it. And for that match, I give all the credit to Brock for that match over Oba. I give all the credit to Brock for that. As far as Brock um retiring, we'll see. There were some rumors that I heard that were saying that I told you guys in the chat, I said, I don't think WWE knew that he was doing this.
No.
You see the reaction in everybody's face, especially Paul Heyman. Of all the people who I wouldn't expect to have a shocked look on their face, would have been him if he knew he was going to retire at that moment. Because it was reported that they knew he was going to, his plan was to retire. The plan for WWE was for him to retire at SummerSlam.
Yep.
But he impromptu did it at that moment. So I'm wondering if possibly, maybe tonight, I mean, maybe you do get Gunther calling him out tonight. I don't know. Saying that he ran and stuff, and maybe that'd be the actual retirement match. I mean, in my opinion, I wouldn't even bother. I think the way it ended was as poetic as it could be. I don't need Brock to do another match. I don't need Gunther to get he's got other wrestlers he can retire in the future. He does not have to be the one to retire them all. I mean, Randy's, when he was doing it, it was more organic. It was more kind of like, okay, it made sense. But like right now, to take Gunther and just say, oh, just plug him in front of the next guy that wants to retire, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I think you're right, right? Like, I think that it needs to be a bit more organic. And I have a fear, and I'm going to pass this to you, Sean, because I know you got something to say. I have a fear that if they bring Brock back to do the Gunther match at SummerSlam, I kind of feel like that takes away from this moment and it takes away from Oba. And I worry that Gunther is just going to spend the next 3 to 4 months calling Brock Lesnar a bitch and, trying to goad him into coming to have that match with him in Minneapolis. But Sean, I know you had something to say, so go ahead.
So first of all, I 100% agree with you and T on that. I think that this was such a special moment of him retiring after this Oba thing that it really adds to the mystique of what Oba did. Because now Oba can say not only did he beat Brock, but he retired Brock. And I don't think that WWE should take that away from him, even to tell the Gunther Brock story. And I think the really surprising thing for me, though, that I wanted to point out in regards to what T was saying about Brock doing so much for selling for Oba, apparently this whole thing was Brock's idea. From everything that I've seen and the talk backstage, Brock handpicked Oba for this match to do this. And with everything Brock has ever done in his career and the fact that he's been allowed to come and go and do whatever the hell he wants, to actually be willing to go out and put somebody over on his way out is not something I ever would have expected out of Brock Lesnar. And I greatly respect him a lot more than I think I did before knowing that.
Yeah.
Well, also, let's not forget there was a time period where we all were questioning whether or not he cared about the sport. How sloppy he was in the ring. He's losing his temper in the ring, and things like that. We were kind of like, okay, this guy really, and the fact that he's also was like more part time than Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
So I mean that didn't really help, but for him to do what he did in that match, this is why I would say give him all the credit in the world for this match, just because he did it. I mean, that shows he had all the respect for the business to allow that to happen. He allowed someone who was designed to strike fear in every wrestler in the world to just give up, to sell like that for somebody that was big. That was big. It was a very powerful match. I mean, from the beginning to end. I mean, I mean, you just felt chills when they both were standing in the ring. I mean, I almost thought like I was about to watch like the World Heavyweight Championship boxing match. That's what it felt like. But and they put out a great show. As much all the shit that we give Brock for his little 2-minute matches and 3-minute matches, this one was really he did a really good job in this because it was something different. We never seen him like this before. So that's what really I think, and he did a good job of selling it to us. I mean, he very well could have made it look real stale and not really sell a whole lot. Not take the bumps because I mean he was taking bumps I've never seen Brock take. So I mean, hats off to Brock. Hats off to him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that You're absolutely right, Reese. Like, I mean, I don't think there's really anything more we can even say about this. I mean, I'm looking forward over the next few weeks to seeing where the booking goes and, seeing what they do with Oba. And I mean, I think it would be so cool if Roman Reigns comes out tonight to open the show and Oba just gets right in his face. Not to set up a match, but just to be like, I'm here now. And that's not going to be on your shoulder forever. And plant that seed for the future.
Tell
Hell,
him he's coming for him.
plant that seed for next year's Mania. If and unless, of course, the ego shows up. But what I digress. So
Let's
so let's go
slow it
ahead,
down
Reese. Sorry.
on the Nova stuff. Let's slow it down. Let's work them and massage them in.
Just I'd be fine with you being like with Oba being like, I'm not coming for it now, but I will be coming for this at some point. Like put that, like Mike said, put that like seed out there that at some point down the road this is gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know we want it. Just in my opinion, I just think you should just allowing us to want it more will make it even more impactful.
True. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But at the same time, I don't want them to do what they've done with so many other characters when they don't strike when the iron is hot.
Oh
And
no,
the iron is scorching right now. So you need to keep pushing this guy. And you're right, he needs more development, but he absolutely cannot fall back down the card. Like
oh
at
no,
this point, yeah, at this point, I don't even want to see him like competing like for like the US title or like a tag team title or in like a match with R-Truth. I don't want to
yeah,
see any of that shit. None of it.
yeah, 100%. I'm with you with that. But I just think that you build him by crossing him with other good veterans who can teach him along the way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you just do the Jade thing, we just throw him into a title match. And if that falls flat, very few wrestlers rebound from that. It's
That's
very
true.
difficult to come back from that. And when you have someone like this, I'm not saying, go overly slow, but get them involved with, some of the more vets on the Alistair Black. Be a
That's
perfect fight for him.
that's what I was gonna say is what do you do with him then? Like who do you have be his next feud? Like in your opinion, who would you like to see Obafemi feud with next?
I couldn't say until I know what's happening this week because I don't know where the direction of the stories are going right now. It wouldn't make no sense to me. I mean, if you're asking just for a dream match, that's one thing. But until I
I
know
just
what's going to happen in WWE, we don't even know who's getting called up.
Right.
So
I
we'll
think
see what happens first before I can make a call on that. I don't want to say anything about that. I wouldn't make a call on that just yet.
I just
Yeah.
think the bigger problem is you have to figure out who is worthy enough to be his next victim.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to wait and see, right? And that's going to be the fun of weekly television, I think. And if they do this right, they've got themselves another Stone Cold Steve. I mean, another Brock Lesnar. I was going to say Stone Cold, but they've got themselves another Brock Lesnar, right? That they can use that way, And hell, he can come. Somebody can come out. Some hot shot can come out and be this, that, or the other thing, and Oba can just come out and say, it's my yard now, right? So. So, and I think I hope that weekly television does it justice. So, I don't know. I think to Reese's point, we're going to have to wait and see. So, let's move on to the ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship, which spectacular. This match, unbelievable. I do, however, again, want to nitpick, and in this instance, the commercials. So the thing that bothered me about this match was JD McDonough, Rusev, and Dragon Lee did not get an entrance. They were just in the ring to start this match, and that was kind of dumb. However, Ray got a pretty cool entrance. Everybody popped for Ray's entrance. Javon Evans, I mean, I'll talk about how they presented him, but he got an entrance and that was cool. And of course, Penta came out in the Shao Kahn mask, which
Yep.
was nuts, absolutely nuts. I loved everything about that. But this match, it started fast, but then it immediately slowed down when Rusev got a ladder, and Rusev kind of throughout the course of this match just played the big man, right? And I mean, all of the big man spots that were kind of required for a big man being in this match, which is immediately why came to mind why they put Rusev in this match, was to do all of those big man spots. To kind of, I was waiting for him to take the ladder and actually like do the spinning thing when he spins around and hits all five of them all at once, which would have been hysterical. But you know, he did also have perhaps one of the best sells in this match as well. Towards the middle of the match, he was going up the ladder to, to get the title. And Javon Evans, who he had just thrown out of the ring, comes in and hits a crazy cutter on Rusev coming off the ladder, which was absolutely spectacular. And they did a great job making Javon Evans, who again, the future of WWE, right? Like we're going to talk about tricking a little bit. We just talked about Oba. Javon Evans is another one, and he's what, 21 years old? I
Yep.
mean, another kid who's just going to have a spectacular career in WWE if they can book him right. The thing I'm even more concerned about with him is keep him healthy.
Yeah.
But with that said, I mean, just a flurry of offense. Rey Mysterio and Penta, they got a few chances to kind of clash together, and you can kind of see, sort of not the passing of the torch per se, but you could see the respect and I guess the goodwill that Ray had towards Penta. Like Ray really like looked, he kind of treated Penta almost like, that son that I never had a little bit kind of thing, which I thought was really cool. But Penta obviously was the star of the show here. Took out Evans with that spectacular Mexican destroyer to ultimately, win the match and retain the Intercontinental Championship. So, Reese, I know you got a lot to say about this one. Penta is your boy. Give me what you got here.
I'm telling you, man. I told you, Mike. I told you. And this guy still has a lot. He has a lot of stuff he hasn't shown in WWE too. So this is more restrained Penta. But I mean, what else can you say about that ladder match? I mean, that has to go up there, one of the greatest ladder matches I've ever watched. I mean, there was no. I mean, everything seemed to be on point too, which is a rarity in those type of matches. Usually, you see some sort of a goof up somewhere in the ring, or someone wasn't in their spot when somebody was swinging a ladder or something like that. So everything seemed to be right on point, and you were just waiting for the next thing to happen, and the next thing, and then they just kept upping it and upping it and upping it. I mean, I had a lot of fun watching that match. It's probably one of those matches I could probably watch again and again and again. And there's very few times I'll ever say I would ever watch a match again and again and again. And that's probably one of the matches I probably would. So hats off to those guys. But my boy Penta once again held on. The Javon Evans, he looked good. He did look good. I don't know what to do about Dragon Lee. See, Ray became Ray. It wasn't because he was Mexican. It's because he was Ray. You know what I mean? Everyone respected Rey Mysterio. And I think for him was just his size alone, and to be able to put on a good show against men who were 3 times his size is what made Ray great. And I don't think you can just. There's certain positions in wrestling you can probably pass the torch to. You know what I mean? There's certain ones. Obviously the Brock to Oba type situation. Gunther and whatever he's doing right now, these passing of the torches, I guess you can call them. But not everybody needs a passing of the torch. If you didn't try to compare Dragon Lee to Rey Mysterio, maybe he might have a much more successful career, because now you're ranking him against Rey every time he wrestles. And that's not fair to him. They should just let the guy wrestle, because he puts on a good show. He's a hell of a wrestler too, and he doesn't get a lot of credit for it just because of his bad booking by the WWE. I'm just hoping that at some point he probably needs to turn heel, and I
Mhm.
bet you can start selling Dragon Lee stuff.
Was was that a Vince thing though, with anointing him the next Rey Mysterio? Like, did Vince like what he did with Drew when Drew first debuted and anointing him the chosen one? Did he derail his career before it even started in WWE by doing that, you think?
I think, I mean, it's possible, but the thing is that when you have someone, like I said, the stuff that made Ray great is impossible to duplicate. You know what I
The
mean?
ultimate underdog.
Well, not even just just it's Ray. Ray with his size, you wouldn't think he could wrestle with anybody. You would think usually people in his size is just a particular person to wrestle against, and if it's somebody who like a big man, they would just get tossed around the ring all match. But it wasn't like that with Ray. Like you, every time you watch Ray, you're like Ray's got a shot. Ever since he won his first title, like Ray's got a shot against anybody.
Yeah,
And you can't really duplicate that. So I don't like the passing of the torch thing to Dragon Lee. I think Dragon Lee needs to earn that respect on his own accord. If WWE is going to do it right with him, I would turn him heel immediately.
I like it. Sean, what did you think of the match, and ultimately, do you think that it was the right booking decision to have Penta retain?
So, to your first point about the guys not getting the entrances, I think that is, I mean, obviously we have a huge complaint about the entire show with the commercials, but I think that that specific instance is the peril of having it on live TV. I think that that played a major part in that. You know what I mean? Because you have to take into account the fact that live TV actually has commercials on it. So I kind of feel like that forced their hand with that part. But God, Rey Mysterio looked like it was the early 2000s out there with the way he was moving around the ring. That West Coast Poppy hit on Rusev on that ladder outside the ring where I thought he killed Rusev. Holy shit, was that a you want to talk moments? That was a moment. Or the Mexican Destroyer from Penta on the ladder. Who was that to? Was that JD McDonough he did that to?
I believe
And
so, yeah.
killed his big ass head.
Hmm.
Um it just the thing about ladder matches is they basically are they go from one moment to the next. And T, you put it perfectly with saying there weren't any screw ups in this match. Everything went so incredibly smooth in this one. It's very rare that you see a match of this type without any kind of botches, and I don't recall there being a single botch. And as far as your question of was it booked correctly, I think honestly, there's only two outcomes that this match could have had, and it was either Penta retaining or Javon Evans leaving as champ. I think either of those would have worked, but I think the Penta retaining is the one that makes the most sense as of right now. He hasn't had the belt quite long enough yet, and he's still so incredibly popular that I think this just cements the path that he's on as far as the popularity and where he's going to be going next. I think Javon Evans might take the title off him down the road, but I think that this match did nothing but make all those guys look good, including Rusev.
Yeah. Yeah, who I think needs it, right? Like some of the guys in this match, I mean, people don't get to see them shine enough and be the wrestlers that they actually, can be. JD is a great wrestler. Rusev is a good wrestler. Like, you gave these guys, you gave everybody got an opportunity to shine in this match. And yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. So let's move on to the third match, which actually, officially kicked off the not being free version of WrestleMania. And that was Trick Williams, who won the United States Championship from Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn's entrance, not much to say. It was fine. It was a Sami Zayn entrance. He got booed a lot during not only during this match, but during his entrance as well. And Trick's entrance with the introduction from Little Yachty was actually pretty cool. And the sort of the long cape that just kept extending and extending and extending all the way down. My niece and nephew were watching with us last night, and my niece made the comment that it looked like a roll of toilet paper, which I kind of thought was hilarious. But it was pretty cool. It also looked like it got stuck a couple of times, and he kept like trying to like pull it out. Anyway, it was kind of funny. So the this match, I think, though, and again, not to nitpick, but this match, I think of all of the matches yesterday, needed more time. This match was way too short. It did what it needed to do, and I know Reese mentioned earlier about giving a ton of credit to Brock Lesnar for helping to put Oba over. In this match, I give all of the credit to Sami Zayn for making Trick Williams look like $1 million. I thought, this match, not to the degree of the first match, but this match was a coronation for Trick Williams. We got another big star here, and we're going to put this guy over, and we're going to make him look like $1 million. And I think Sami Zayn did everything he needed to do to make Trick Williams look fantastic. And Sean, since I know Sami Zayn is your boy, I will let you kick us off on this one. And do you think that Sami did enough here? And I guess, are you concerned that we didn't get any real character development out of Sami from this specifically with
I
regards to
think we
the
did
heel turn
though.
you were talking about?
I think we did though. I think we got by what he did during the match. I think that helped with the character development of Sammy. I mean, the still acting like he doesn't understand why people aren't happy with him, the the haluva kicking trick right in front of his parents, the attacking Little Yachty. I think that these are all the little things that Sammy needs to be doing as he progresses through his officially turning heel. And I think that this match was very well done. I mean, it came in at just about 9 minutes, so you're right, it could have used a little bit more time. It felt like it got a little bit rushed towards the end, but I also want to say I know that a lot of the complaints coming into this WrestleMania was about the celebrities at this. The way that they used Little Yachty and the way that he basically was a hype man for Trick in the lead up to this and at the event, it kind of felt like a Jim Cornette style manager thing going on. And I really enjoyed that. I think he did a great job of hyping up Trick. And if you're going to use celebrities as something, I think this is the perfect way to use one. He got involved in the match, he took hits, he hyped up Trick, he made Trick look better. And like you said, this was a coronation of Trick Williams. He has a very bright future, and WWE has a very bright future with some of these guys. And I don't think I would have said that a few years ago with like when Trick first debuted as basically Carmelo Hayes' hype man. I did not think that he would reach the heights that he's reached. And I'm glad to see that the people backstage look at Trick that way too. And as much as I love to hate on Sami Zayn, I think that I'm very excited to see where he goes with this heel turn.
Like it. Reese, what were your thoughts on the match? And I guess specifically, I know you had made mention a couple times about Trick as well. Do you think that this was like an appropriate coronation for Trick? And do you think we can maybe start to like move him into a little bit of a better picture here?
No, no. This was just a test run for him, just to see if he's ready just to beat up on that main roster. This is all this was. It hasn't started for him yet. This is just a test run. It's Sammy, the guys. You know, Sammy doesn't hold the belt that long for anybody. So generally, any belt deals, it's always short term and it'll end up flipping to somebody else they want to push. And that's what they use Sammy for. So no, I think the match was okay. It wasn't bad. It was a good match. I thought Sammy did allow him to have his spots. I don't know if the storyline they were trying to sell was going in the direction that they wanted it to. I think they want to make Trick a heel, but I don't know if they're able to make him a full-on heel because of all the push he's getting and then the crowd support. So it'd be interesting to see what direction they go with him after that match. Sami Zayn, obviously, yeah, more than likely he's about to go heel. I just don't know who he's gonna like. Who's he gonna cross paths with to be a heel though?
Got to be Cody, right? It's got to be Cody.
Or Jimmy or Jay?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, because he's one of the guys who Sammy would benefit from like being off screen every so often.
Yes.
Because every time you see him, whether he's a heel or a face, it's still Sami Zayn no matter what. And I don't think that persona really works if you're just he's going to be on TV all the time and he's just flowing back and forth with it. I think he needs to disappear off of TV for a couple of months and let him come back renewed and with a new direction. Because I think the problem for him is that he's getting stale with everybody. His whole gimmick is getting stale, and I think they need to let that die off a little bit and push some of these other guys from NXT up in that spot, and then bring Sami Zayn back later on this year.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, and I think honestly, it might be a good thing for him to feud with Cody because truthfully, Sami Zayn is one of the few people on the roster who is getting booed more than Cody is right now. And it might do Cody a little bit of good to go into a match where he's not the one getting booed. So I guess we'll have to wait and see with that one as well. But I imagine we're probably going to hear from both of them on SmackDown on Friday. So this moves us on to Dirty Dominic Mysterio and the Demon Finn Balor in a street fight, which was announced relatively late that this was in fact going to be a street fight. But the entrances for this one, again, were also really, really cool. I loved Dominic coming out on like that cart thing with all the all the gang guys kind of surrounding him as he sort of made his way to the ring. And then, I mean, what more can you say about the right? I love it. I love it. And what more can you say about the demon and the entrance with the demon and the confetti that came down and how he like there was a human heart there and he like just sort of was crawling towards it and it was just super creepy and awesome. And the makeup, I mean, whoever is responsible for putting that makeup on him, like spectacular job. He looks like $1,000,000 whenever he comes out as that character. But yeah, the match itself was it was different than like kind of a sort of a typical Dominic Mysterio match that we've seen. And one of the things I will say a lot about Dominic Mysterio is it is amazing to see how much he's improved in the ring. And he got a lot of offense in this match, a lot more offense than I kind of thought he was going to get. Because like going into this, I really thought that this was going to be kind of a squash. Like I was just like the demon's just going to smoke him. But I mean, Dom, he got the 619, he attempted to do the three amigos, hit a couple of frog splashes, but obviously the demon was just too much. And the demon hit the coup de grace through a table. And I mean, he gave it the full bore to break that table at the end of this match, which was nuts. And I don't know. This is another one of those ones where I'm kind of like, I don't think they're done because I kind of feel like they're going to do another non-demon match probably at Backlash. But Reese, let me pass this one over to you. What did you think of the match? And do you think the never-ending Judgment Day story is still never-ending?
Yeah, up to this point, yeah, I think I still don't. You're right. They're going to have another match. I mean, whether it's going to be a Backlash or later on this summer, who knows? Maybe Finn gets a belt and then Dom comes out of nowhere and challenges him for it. So, I mean, there's time for that. But it was a good match. I was actually very, like you guys said, I was impressed with Dominic, and he hasn't really impressed me in ring all this as much as he has outside the ring. I think his outside ring work had been much more impressive to me than his in ring stuff. But this match was like, he's took some steps. I think the AAA stuff was really helping him. Him getting in front of a crowd because technically, don't forget, he was fast tracked to the main roster.
Yep.
He didn't have to spend any time in NXT or get seasoned up at all. So he's been learning on the on the job. So, but he's been making some pretty good improvements. Well, I mean, what else can I say about Finn? I mean, Finn's always been one of my favorite wrestlers in the world, who I think is probably one of the most underrated wrestlers in the world, if not the most underrated wrestler in the world. Um, I think they still have to continue the storyline. I just don't know. Like I said, I think they're going to write this Judgment Day thing like they do Bullet Club. So this thing's going to be here forever, and you're just going to get members rotating in and out of it all the time. But yeah, it was a good match. It was a very, very good match. It was much better than I expected it to be.
Sean, what did you think of the match, and were you impressed with Dom throughout this match?
So, first of all, anytime we see the demon, it's a spectacle. And that's there was a point where it felt like they were using it a little bit too much. And I think this is the way that they need to use that character. Um, Here's a thought though for you. What if Finn takes the AAA Mega Championship off of Dom?
Could be fun.
Like, you need to give them stakes if they're going to have another match against each other, which I think they should, because I think Dom should get a match actually against Finn. And I think that if you're going to give it stakes, why not put that belt on the line? And I think that the fact that this wasn't a straight up squash match was huge. The fact that it allowed Dom to actually get offense in and be able to at least be in the match for a little while was great booking as far as that goes. And can I say that coup de grace through the table? I was talking about that move in particular with my buddy who's a wrestler, and he was explaining to me how they do that move without people getting hurt. And apparently, it's when they come down, Finn goes like spaghetti legs so that his weight doesn't come down. If you think about it, to break that table, he actually had to come down with all of his weight on Dom to do that. That was a pretty rough spot. You know what I mean? And I give Dom all the credit for being willing to do that. And I think, like you said, the entrance for Dom with the King of the Luchador stuff, I I love it all. I think that Dom is probably one of the best heels they have in WWE right now, and I think that this match was everything it needed to be. I loved it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought it was fantastic, and it was a pleasure to watch. And Dom is really starting to grow on me as a wrestler. I know I spent a good chunk of 2025 complaining about Dom, but yeah, he's definitely, as long as he's not hijacking the Intercontinental Championship, I think he's really starting to grow on me as a character. So before we talk about the last match, though, I do want to just because I don't want to end on the Danhausen segment. So I do want to just quickly talk about the Danhausen segment. So obviously before the main event, John Cena came out, to give the official night's attendance again for both nights. Yeah, to which he was interrupted by Miz and Kit Wilson. And before Danhausen did make his appearance, I didn't love that John Cena buried Kit Wilson, where he was just kind of like in his John Cena way, and who are you? That John Cena kind of does, which not the best use of John Cena there, but whatever. Again, nitpicking. Um, but it was, of course, hilarious when Danhausen came out with several little people who were dressed like Danhausen into the ring. And, Miz made a few jabs at him. Kit Wilson called them toxic to only push one of the little people to the ground and then kind of get a punch to the dick. And then the little people kind of like, swarmed Kit Wilson out of the ring to allow Danhausen to punch Miz in the crotch and ultimately allow Danhausen to deliver the five knuckle shuffle with John Cena's permission, and then attempt to throw a smoke bomb down to the ground, but not actually disappear, and then roll out of the ring and have all of the little people go under the ring with him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was hysterical, and I think this was the perfect use of all of these characters to just like have this kind of fun moment before your main event. But and so I guess if you guys just want to if you guys got anything you want to add on to this, T or Sean here before we talk about the next match, but I don't know what you guys think about this.
Well, let's
Comedy
not
gold.
forget about the fact that when he got in the ring, he says to John Cena, "You think he's gonna curse him?" And he says, "Hey, nice to meet you, very big fan."
Everything they're doing with him is comedy gold. Like, other than the fact that the whole box thing when he debuted was stupid, everything they've done since that has been absolute fire. And I think that the best part of this whole segment, besides what he did with Cena there, was the fact that his exit with the smoke bomb didn't work. That I think was the funniest part of it all.
Yeah, it was comedy gold.
Let's not
So
forget them carrying Miz out of the ring.
Yeah,
oh yeah, we're all carrying mitts out of the ring. That was great.
Let's
I
not
was
forget that part.
dying.
Miz is the perfect person for him to be working with, to be completely honest with you. The Danhausen and Miz and Kit Wilson is just a fantastic, fantastic pairing.
Yeah. So this takes us to the last match on the show, which we're going to review, and that was, of course, the women's championship match between Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill. Uh, Jade comes down to the ring. Pretty standard entrance for Jade. She had like a ginormous coat on initially to kind of like make her way out, but it's kind of been par for the course for Jade. I'm sure Reese, you didn't love that very much, but because you've been saying what you've had to say about Jade and her outfits. But Rhea, on the other hand, the Gozer the Gozerian Ghostbusters outfit was spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. I loved everything about Rhea's look for this match. She looked like $1 million coming down to the ring, and big fan of Rhea. The this match started off a little slow. Another one of these matches that probably could have benefited from a little bit more time. Jade used her strength early in the match to kind of push Rhea around, shoulder tackle, body slam. But Rhea definitely kept coming back, to really to get going, to really kind of bring this match to be a little bit more even. uh Jade hit a really nice looking blue thunder bomb on Rhea Ripley halfway through the match, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. Jade initially countered one of the first Riptide, excuse me, that I'm just making sure I capture everything with my notes here. She countered the first Riptide with like some kind of hip toss into a spine buster for a 2 count, which was also really, really cool. And then we obviously had the goon squad of Meechin and BFAB, coming in to attempt to pull Cargill out of the Razor's Edge, which Jade was attempting to put her through, which brought out Io Sky to kind of beat the heels down, and this kind of led to the finality of the match where the Io gets up on the ramp, or Io gets up on the ring apron, kind of does like a springboard back thing to take both of the heel goons out. Jade goes to kick her, obviously misses. Rhea attempts to get her into the Riptide. She kind of like just gets it distracted and turns it around. Then attempts to take Jade attempts to take her up, counter, is about to slam her down. Rhea slides through her legs. And the one thing that I didn't like here, and I wanted to thank, somebody at my house pointed this out. It looked like Jade kind of just sandbagged Rhea a little
yep.
bit at the end here, where she was just kind of like, yeah, I'm not going to sell this Riptide at all here at the end. Like, it's almost like she left her full body weight there to kind of like, yeah, if you're going to lift me and do this move on me, like she made herself heavy, if you will, right? Is I think the way I want to put this, to ultimately have Jade hit the Riptide to deliver the win. The one thing I will say about this, though, this was the best match that Jade has put on the main roster, I think by a lot. And I think it's why I said everything I said at the offset of this show as to why I think that this was such a good version of WrestleMania, was because you even got a good match out of Jade Cargill. So, Sean, I know Jade's your girl, so I'll let you kick us off on this one.
It literally physically pains me to say this, but you're right. This was Jade's best match in WWE. Not that we have a whole lot of great to compare it to, but she didn't really screw too much up. I mean, the fact that she sandbagged Rhea at the end was real disrespectful, but I really enjoyed the fact that she also busted out a one-winged angel on Rhea, which is obviously Kenny Omega's move. That was kind of unexpected, but I think WWE did what they needed to here. They got the belt off of Jade. Hopefully, the Cargill experiment and the Jade Brigade will go away for a little while. Maybe this will allow them some time to fix her shortcomings before they bring her back into a major feud or title picture. And I think if putting the belt on Rhea on SmackDown is probably the smartest thing that WWE could do as far as trying to right the ship over there in the women's division, especially now that it looks like we're going to be getting more contenders out of the tag division back into the main women's division, hopefully.
Yeah, I agree. And Reese, I want to ask you, what do you I mean, what did you think of the match? But not only that, now that Rhea's the champion, to Sean's point, are we going to start seeing less of the tag team division and a lot more singles matches, I think, to kind of beef up that SmackDown women's division?
Yeah, more than likely. Yeah, I mean, you have no choice, right? I don't think there's any other way you can go right now. Um, it was a good match. I mean, like you said, was probably the best match that I've seen Jade in. I mean, that's even going back to AEW.
Yeah.
So I mean, that means that there is some sort of progress that's coming with her. The problem, though, again, WWE has. I mean, it sounds like they're going to do a reset with her. This is what it sounds like because this is what I'm worried about. What you do with Oba is you don't want to push them too fast because they may not be just ready yet. So I think what you do with Oba is you kind of start having them hunt after that U.S. title. Now, like I told you, U.S. title is a test. It's a test run. All right. So you have them go after the U.S. title. This is what they should have did with Jade. Is kind of let her mingle around. It doesn't even have to even be mid card. Somewhere hovering around the mid card, but a little lower. Let her get her feet under her. Give her some storyline so she can learn how to sell, not just with words, but also with her movements in the ring. And that's that's the downfall, and it is a shame. I shouldn't like really diss her because it's not her fault. I mean, to some degree, it is obviously. Okay, let me take that back. To some degree, it's her fault. There's a certain um, there's a certain work ethic that you got to come up with not just with how you look, but also how you act in the ring and how you sell your character. So that's another part of being a wrestler, and she hasn't figured that quite out yet. And they were hoping to throw the two other ones on them, but on her, but they don't have any personality either. So I mean, you got up three people with no personalities, and you're trying to make a trio out of them.
The Jade
Nobody
Brigade.
in that three. So yeah, it was a good match. And hooray for Rhea. You know, she got her belt back. Let's see where it goes from her, or from here. Um, I mean, like I said, I think with Rhea, I think they're probably lining up some sort of match for her and Charlotte again. I think that's what's coming down the line.
You think so?
Yeah, Charlotte's been riding this baby face for a while. I'm pretty sure WWE is geeking to get another title shot because it's Charlotte Flair. I mean, at some point you got to make her go after a title shot, right?
Death taxes and Charlotte Flair wins titles, right?
When was when was the last time Rhea held a major championship? Like a singles championship like that?
When she lost it to Liv, I think a couple of years ago.
Yep.
So interesting. So yeah, that was WrestleMania night too, and I think it was better. I think it was a lot better. I don't know if I want to go with it saved WrestleMania, but it felt like WrestleMania. So let's give it our final rating, guys. I mean, Sean, what do you think? What was your final rating for the show? And do you think WrestleMania was in fact worthy of that name?
So for night two, I give it an A. I think that it definitely was a major improvement on night one. It had the moments. It was just overall a much better presentation. I think outside of the commercial complaints, that kind of stuff. Overall, I think I give WrestleMania. I'd give it probably a B plus, maybe a B. It wasn't among the worst WrestleManias I've ever seen, but it also wasn't, like I said, in my opinion, it felt like something was missing. It just didn't feel completely WrestleMania worthy to me. I don't know if it was just not quite enough big moments, but I think it was still a good show. I just don't think it was quite up to the standard that I hold WrestleManias to.
Reese?
Um, yeah, night two obviously was a big improvement from night one. So for night two, I would definitely give it an A. I want to give it no, you know what? No, I give it an A. I give it an A. I want to give it an A plus, but it's WWE and I'm tired of the commercials, so you won't get an A plus from me. All right. I give them an A for the date night two. They rebounded quite nicely. Um, Overall, I probably give the entirety of the weekend a B plus overall. We can't forget about that night one. That night one was so bad and boring that I don't know if this is the plan, guys. I think Sunday is the true main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So Monday is just fillers, and then you throw in a couple of heavy names in there just to fill out that card. But the real show is going to be night two, and I think that's their plan going forward. This is 2 years in a row they've done this. It's been the
Yeah.
same. You have these mid tier matches and night one, and then day two you kind of explode. So that could be the pattern that they're running on right now.
Yeah, I think I agree with both of you guys. Night two was obviously the stronger night, and it did its best to, I think, just heal some of the wounds. It was almost like TKO booked night one and WWE Triple H booked night two. Maybe, I don't know. I don't want to take. I don't want to give Triple H just a pass, but it definitely felt like there were almost two completely different booking entities that were responsible for these two separate nights of WrestleMania. So I think with that, my final overall rating for the show is a commercial mania out of 5. So that was WrestleMania night two. Let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. Please, as always, like, share, subscribe, and spread the word. You guys have been hitting us with a ton of comments lately with your thoughts, and we appreciate the support so much. So keep sending those through. We'd love to hear from you guys. And if you like this format and the way we've been doing these reviews lately, let us know. We're always open for more feedback. And like I said, we appreciate the support. So with that, I've been Mike, joined with Mr. Sean O'Neill and Mr. T. Reese. Have yourselves a fantastic evening. Enjoy Raw tonight and take care.